Good evening, everyone. We want to wait a few minutes till we have a few more people hop on.
All right, let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So this is the community meeting for the City of Belmont's Community Recreation Center. I'm Rachel Nilsson from CPL, and I'll be walking you through what we're showing here. And also on the line with me today is Tiffany Farrow with the City of Belmont, as well as John Wood with Alfred Benesh and Company, who is the civil engineer landscape architect. If you have any questions, this is how we'll be taking in some of those questions and answering those. So we'll be doing some real-time web polling, and you can either log in with that event code 5119 or text your response. Text your question to the number shown below, and that'll pop up later in the presentation as well. For the location of the rec center, it is being proposed in the green area right in front of the City Works Public Works building, right across the street from Kevin Loft Riverfront Park on Catawba Street. So that green lawn area that you see right on the screen, that is the proposed location for the recreation center and the parking associated with it. The site design, we are showing an entrance to the parking off of 13th Street. So you'll go from Catawba onto 13th. There's a drop-off loop at the building entrance, associated ADA parking in the vicinity of the entrance, a second level entrance to access the walking track and to enter the building from the upper parking lot. In terms of outdoor programs, this location will be a connection point for the future greenway between the future greenway and Kevin Lofton Park, with in the future a crosswalk across Catawba for that greenway as well. Public art is proposed on the site, as well as a number of outdoor plazas. We are asking for conditional rezoning of this property. It's currently zoned for business campus development and looking to rezone to institutional campus development with that conditional. And a couple of the items on that that we're looking at are no addition of the bike line at Catawba Road until further connections are made, so that there won't be just a one block section of bike lane that's there. A sidewalk from the private drive was moved adjacent to the left side of the building. So there are sidewalks connecting from the upper City Works building down to Catawba. And approval on the proposed parking count, or parking space count on the site as well for this type of facility. For programming, the spaces that will be inside of the building, there'll be 3 courts. Those can be used for basketball, volleyball, pickleball, indoor soccer, large community gatherings, and any types of community events. A media room focused mainly on teen programming and video gaming. Indoor play area for kids. a couple of lobby spaces that allow for some cafe seating, community gatherings, gallery exhibition spaces, a kitchen on the lower level for cooking classes and concessions and catering, exercise studio on the lower level for yoga, dance classes, cheerleading practice, music, drama, art, and rowing studio space. So a lot of different uses for that exercise studio, as well as some admin areas and building support areas on that lower level. On the second level, there's a walking track that encircles the two of the basketball courts, and that's about 10 or 12 laps to a mile. A second floor entrance from the upper parking lot and lobby, associated lobby there. Another exercise studio on that second level for the same types of spaces on the lower level. Multi-purpose rooms with an associated balcony, and those can serve as 2 smaller meeting rooms or 1 larger event space. They are connected to a warming kitchen, so that can be used for catering for events that are held in those spaces. Some additional building support spaces and administration areas, and lounge areas for remote workspace, and for some fitness equipment areas. There's a number of programs that are proposed at this center, and these are part of what the Parks and Rec Department is looking at. This is the view from Catawba and the private drive as you're coming from Wilkinson Boulevard. And this is the view as proposed from the proposed parking lot. So this would be the main entrance to the facility. The second floor entrance as viewed from the CityWorks parking. The main lobby entrance interior view. And the back lobby view. In conjunction with the conditional zoning, we are also looking to add some exterior building signage. This is the signage that's proposed at the CityWorks building, which is located currently behind the new recreation center. Next step. So tonight is the Belmont community meeting. We just wrapped up a 2-hour drop-in session here at TechWorks. On October 5th is the City Council schematic design presentation and rezoning review. If you have any questions or comments, please type those in or send those in with the instructions on the screen.
And this is Tiffany, Associate Planner with the City of Belmont. And just to recap Rachel's presentation, the applicant is currently seeking to conditionally rezone the entire parcel where the CityWorks building and the new recreation center will be located. Its current zoning is BCD, and they're proposing to rezone that to an institutional campus type development. Development of the rec center, but also to do so in a way that would create a municipal type campus atmosphere on the site with a focus on pedestrian connectivity and spaces for gathering. With that as well, we do have Mosaic Design Group on the call, and they are who is working on the proposed CityWorks signage. So if you do have any questions for that team, please feel free to also use the Swift app to provide that feedback, and we would be happy to answer any questions that we have. They are in still the very early stages of planning, so nothing is final, but we do welcome the public's feedback on both of those initiatives as we work to build out this area of our city's property. Seth, do we have any questions coming in so far? Perfect. Looks like one of the questions is, what will the roof look like? Could we ever build up another level or put a skate park on the roof? So to that, I would like to ask Rachel to respond.
Yep. So what we are looking at on the gym portion of the roof is a sloped metal roof on the front piece. So we would not be able to build up another level over there. And we would also need to determine in advance if we ever were because of structural needs. And on the front portion, that is planned to be primarily a flat roof with some sloped roofs there as well. I understand that there is a proposed alternate location for the skate park, but I will defer to the city for that. Colors of walls and floors. The renderings don't show the colors very well, but in terms of the exterior colors, they're generally proposed to be a combination of an accent color that is a red, a brick red, as well as some white polished block and some metal panels that are not, we don't have colors determined for those yet. In terms of the interior colors, we have not looked at those at all yet. So what's shown in the renderings is shown white for just schematic purposes. Multi-generational aspect, yes, absolutely. What's proposed for programming and for space is meant to be as flexible as possible. So there are areas dedicated for kids' play areas. There's a push for some of that teen programming. We understand that the walking track is especially attractive to a lot of the senior population. And then the gyms are able to be a multi-use space that allows for all kinds of different sports and games to happen and are separated in such a way that after school programs or summer camps could happen in one space and the other spaces could be open for sporting events or for basketball drop-in sessions, things like that. In terms of the Fight Club MMA classes, that would be a question for the Parks and Rec department in terms of the programming specifically that's offered. Utilities costs, I don't have that information for you at this time. We're in early design stages of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing components.
This is Tiffany again with the city, and I would like to add that in addition to this meeting tonight, before this project does go to City Council for their review and for approval, there will also be a planning board meeting where they will be able to review further design plans, and if that information is available at that time, it would be presented, and if not, as the project gets more and more refined, that information would be made available. But there is another public engagement opportunity. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew, and that will be September 17th at 6:30 at the next planning board meeting.
There's a question about opportunity for solar panels. That is potentially something that could be added in the future due to costs. It is not part of the current plan for this facility.
I want to say thank you to everyone for putting in these comments, and I would also like to encourage you, if you don't mind, to help us track who all is participating tonight by just dropping your name so that we can add it to a roster in the same comment area through Swift. If you wouldn't mind sharing that with us, it would just, again, be part of the roster for tonight's meeting.
There's a question, will this be where all Parks and Rec employees are now? I think you're referring to, is this where the office is and the staff spaces for the Park and Rec department? And that the answer to that is that the Park and Rec Department will be split partially between this building and partially where they are now, which is in the City Works facility, which will be right on the other side of the parking lot. So I believe we have office spaces for the staff who will be dedicated to this facility here. The question is there an indoor walkway? Yes, there will be. There will be an elevated track around two of the gymnasiums, two of the basketball courts.
And for the question about how the construction of this facility will be funded, the Recreation Center is a capital improvement project. And so this project will be funded through that avenue. If you need more details about that, certainly reach out to the Park and Recreation Department and they'd be happy to provide that information to you.
The distance of the walkway will be approximately 10 laps or 12 laps to a mile. There's a question about will there be indoor speakers for ambient music? That's something that's still to be determined in the final stages of the design. And if you'd like us to scroll back to any of the previous slides, please just let us know what you'd like to see as well.
Thank you all again for all of these questions. These are great. And I would just like to again encourage anyone who may not have done so to please provide your name so that we can track the engagement received at this community meeting. Again, your name would not be used for any other purpose other than just to make sure that we have provided public outreach for this project and also to track who was able to join us tonight for the meeting. It looks like our screen went away, so bear with us. We're pulling that up again as we speak.
the site plan and the plans, floor plans and renderings, I understand will be on the city website for review later if you wish.
All right, I have Zip here with me as well from Parks and Recreation. And so we will be circling back around to some of those questions you all had before that he may be able to better assist with. So Zip, one of the questions that came through was, can we start a fight club or MMA classes?
I'll probably need more information before I can give you an answer to that. So you can just get in contact with me at zstow@cityofbelmont.org. I'll be glad to receive that information and then get back with you.
They also wanted to know how the construction of this facility would be funded. So we talked about that it was a capital improvement project, but if you had any additional insight you wanted to provide.
No, basically it is a capital improvements project, but we're going to try to see additional grant funding for the facility also. And that's through the Partners Grant and some other grant features we might be able to get. And also sponsorships. So if anybody got any kind of sponsorships they want to bring to the table, you're welcome to do so. We'll greatly appreciate it.
Perfect. All right, guys, we'll leave this up for a little bit. If anybody has any questions for anybody on this call, or I know we haven't seen any questions about signage, so that's great news. But if you have any of those, remember that a representative from Mosaic is also on this call to answer those. Zip, can we do indoor hockey?
Yes, maybe we would do some of that. I guess you mean the field hockey.
Will there be a safe place for smaller children to enjoy the facility?
Yes, we do have an enclosed play area for kids to use, and it should be a play unit installed in there as well. And you'll be able to view it from the lobby.
I think there's another question coming in, but bear with me one second as we pull it up. Will there be any outdoor fields at this location?
No, currently we don't have that in the proposal, and this proposal is going to be on a 6-acre tract that's probably going to be used up for parking and the recreation facility. So no, will not be no outdoor ball fields of that such nature.
Will you be able to hold concerts inside? And if so, what is the capacity for the gym?
I can take that one. Yes, we could certainly hold concerts inside the facility. I believe the capacity for the double gym is about 1,000 people, and for the single gym is about 500 or a little less than 500. In terms of bleachers in that single gym, the competition gym, there will be a set of fixed bleachers, and then there will likely be movable bleachers that can go around that the gym as well. So depending on if it's a volleyball game or a basketball game or whatever other sport event is held in there, those bleachers can be positioned to best suit the viewing of that sport.
Perfect. Is anyone looking into sports tournaments being hosted here, for example, from local schools? And will this have a larger capacity than a high school gymnasium?
Rachel just answered that. For the smaller gym, we'll see about 500 people, and for the two courses, it'll be about 1,000 people. And it's looked in the tournament, so hopefully that'll be funding sources of revenue. Hopes tournaments such as volleyball, basketball, and pickleball.
In terms of the capacity size question was answered, but these are high school size courts that are planned in here.
For anyone new who may be joining in on this call a little bit later, there is an opportunity to please share your questions with us at the information on your screen, and we will be happy to answer those questions. So that you can please remember to sign in with your name using the app. That will help us track our attendance roster for this one.
To answer the question just came in about the outdoor balcony. Yes, there's an outdoor balcony planned for the space right off of those multi-purpose rooms for any outdoor events, fundraising events. There is a plan to allow alcohol for those types of parties and events, specifically for that space.
All right. Will this be open for people to sit and use free Wi-Fi and just enjoy work overlooking the water?
Yes, we should be able to make that accommodation.
Rachel, to that note, would you like to say anything about the views from that building itself?
Sure. We have done a drone flight up there, so we anticipate being able to have views of the riverfront park, and likely in the wintertime having views directly of the river as well. There are a lot of trees between here and the river, so the view will be a lot of greenery, specifically from the balcony area.
All right. Will you consider offering a membership for business people to utilize the indoor Wi-Fi for balcony access? For example, setting specific days as reserved for working individuals to access the balcony and they can pay a membership fee?
Yes, to me, that's a great idea. That's something we definitely will look into.
Will the signage be incorporating the new logos I have seen in some places already, or will it be using the old seal image? Taylor, I'm going to send that one over to you.
Sure, thank you. This is Taylor Broyhill. I'm planning principal at Mosaic Civic Studio. We're responsible for designing the exterior and internal signage for City Works, as well as conducting the place branding process that resulted in the brand system. So our intention is, yes, to incorporate in a cohesive way the new brand into the signage, but of course making sure that the signage is appropriate in terms of visibility and conveying, information so that it's, accessible to people at a pedestrian level outside the building. But yes, we intend to use the new brand for this system.
Just to follow up on Taylor's, I know there was only one slide, so I just want to make sure that we are as transparent as we possibly can be as the city. The maximum size of signage proposed is currently above the city's requirements for signage. So what Taylor and her team are asking for as part of this conditional zoning request is a little bit of flexibility in that signage size, just based on the scale of the building itself, and also to try to take advantage of some visibility from Catawba Street, if at all possible, once the rec center is created. So with that, the request is currently to allow up to 290 square feet of wall-mounted signage on the City Works structure itself. And as a follow-up question on that, will the public be given a chance to provide input to the signage? For example, will we get to see 2 or 3 final options to vote on?
I'm not sure that it will be a public decision or not for the final design, but that'll be up to the city. However, we will be providing photorealistic renderings around mid-October of the proposed signage. And, certainly if folks have feedback on potential designs right now, we have not finalized any designs for signage. I'm happy to hear those tonight. And it sounds like from the city as well, there are other opportunities to provide some input as part of the conditional zoning process as well.
All right, what is the estimated completion if this is able to start in time? The current building that is being worked on at this location seems like it took years for just a facelift. So Rachel, would you like to speak to that?
Yep, so we are anticipating starting construction around early summer of 2021 and approximately 14 months for construction, so finishing up in summer 2022. And I will note, in addition to that, we have a construction manager at risk on board for this project already, and I believe they are on this call, and that is Edifice Construction.
All right, this is my occasional friendly reminder to please, if you're just now joining us, use Swift to provide your name so that we can add it to the virtual meeting roster of attendees. Thank you so much, and we look forward to you guys' continued questions. I know there's some people that are leaving, so if you're with us, still we appreciate your interest in this project. And for those of you that are still with us, again, if you think of questions after this, you can reach out to Zip or myself, Zip in Parks and Recreation. And my name is Tiffany Farrow in the Planning Department. We look forward to public comment and feedback about this project to better inform this as we move forward. There is also opportunity to provide feedback at the next planning board meeting, which again will be September 17th at 6:30 p.m. And then finally, this project is proposed to go to City Council on October 5th for a public hearing as well as a decision. So that is the current proposed schedule for public engagement, but certainly we welcome emails and or other comments if you think of anything after this meeting that you'd like to share with us. Perfect. We will remain live until 7 p.m. in case there's anyone joining us a little bit later. So if you are logging in just now and have any questions, please let us know. And again, we will be remaining here until 7 p.m. for any public comment or questions. If you missed the presentation, you can certainly send a comment, and we'd be happy to review any details you are curious about before we wrap up this evening. If you're just logging in, we wrapped up the main presentation. However, we're certainly open to going over any slides or starting again. Just please send us a message via Swift and let us know what you may be interested in seeing or that you're just now joining us, and we would be happy to answer any questions you have about our proposed recreation center project. All right, we just received a question in the request to see the balcony space. So we are now showing that on the screen. If you have any specific questions about the balcony, please let us know and we'd be happy to go over that in more detail as well. All right, we've received a question. The question is this two separate buildings? The image looks like a second building in the back. So I will start off by saying that this site, which is an entire parcel of 16.72 acres, does contain two structures. One is the CityWorks building that is currently being wrapped up for city staff to occupy as office space, as well as our public works department utilize that space for that. And then directly in front of that structure is proposed to be a brand new building to house the recreation center. The recreation center itself is proposed as one building, but on the site there are two separate buildings, if that answers your question.
And to add on to that, there is a back section of the building, which is those three basketball courts or three courts, basketball, volleyball, and other sports. And then the front portion of that building is for some of the additional programming spaces, meeting spaces, group exercise spaces and such. So those two, maybe what you're referring to as two separate buildings, are one building and are connected as one building.
If you'd like more information about this project or missed this meeting will be available on YouTube. It is being recorded. So there is that option. And also more information is available on the City of Belmont's website under current projects and Belmont Recreation Center. You can find all of the plans that are shown tonight there, as well as contact information for the project team. All right, so we have about 5 more minutes or so. So if there is anybody still on this meeting or just joining us, we do have a few more minutes for questions or to look at any slides that you would like a second glance at. Just let us know. And again, if you are still on, please sign in virtually using Swift to let us know so we can add your name to the roster for joining us tonight. All right, we've received a question. Will there be any special cups or memorabilia, such as shirts, bumper stickers with Parks and Rec branding, etc.? Taylor, can you speak to whether or not Mosaic is currently working on any items that may have our new city branding on them?
Hey, yes, I can speak to that to an extent. We have developed some preliminary designs for certain pieces of collateral, brand collateral with the new project branding, as well as departmental level logos that are consistent with the new logo system. We have not specifically designed sort of those kind of giveaway items like cups or t-shirts or koozies or things of that nature, but I certainly would encourage the city to put the new brand out there if they want to. I think it's a fun idea. But we have provided the city with all of the print ready file formats should they want to pursue developing some of those branded items.
Thank you, Taylor. And Zip, did you want to speak to whether or not that is foreseen as part of your program for the rec center?
Yes, I think that would be a great idea to add some of that to the facility and to promote this facility. That is a great idea, and we'll look to do that in the future.
Perfect. So if there are any additional remaining questions, or again, if you want to see any of the slides again from tonight's meeting, please let us know. We have about 2 minutes left until we wrap up, but we certainly want to capture as much public feedback as possible and to make sure that your ideas and thoughts are taken into consideration as part of our design as we are moving forward. So the next opportunity after tonight is again going to be at the planning board meeting on September 17th. Where there will be an opportunity for public comment as well as a public hearing scheduled on the night of the city council meeting in October, which will be October 5th. So the public is certainly invited and welcome to attend both of those meetings, as well as reach out to Zip or I or the design team if there's any questions that you didn't think of until after this meeting, or if you'd like to provide any feedback or comments to be considered as part of this project. So we just wanted to wrap up and say thank you to everybody for attending. And I will pause for 1 more minute just in case any last minute questions come in before we end. All right, so thank you to everybody for coming out to the community meeting. We know some of you may have dropped in at TechWorks and others may be logging on virtually, so we appreciate everyone taking the time and sharing your thoughts and comments and feedback with us. And we look forward to engaging again soon as this project moves forward.